Hello, and welcome to another exciting episode of Rewriting Reality. I just noticed I've got my name there twice with reality interventionist. That was overabundance. It's redundant, but it's there. I'm still a reality interventionist, just more so right now. And oh yeah, Divine DNA in the house. Welcome. So, for those of you new to the show, what happens here is I have a different guest on each month. And it's not just the interview process. I bring on the guests, we learn a little bit about them, and then they coach me on their area of expertise. And if that's not enough, you don't get to learn from me getting coached, then I coach them using energetic magic. So they win, I win, you win, we all win. It's amazing. It's fun. We've been doing it for a few years now and it's turned out so well. So let's see who we've got on the agenda for today. It's Joel Salomon. Hey Joel, how's it going?
Great, Shiraz. Great to be here. Thank you so much for having me, and it's a great honor to be here with you today.
I'm so happy to have you here. Now, for those of you who don't know Joel, he is a finance and mindful money expert and a master prosperity coach who helps others overcome obstacles standing in their way of financial freedom. Who wouldn't like to have some financial freedom? Joel's also an award winning TEDx speaker, workshop facilitator, and frequent television and podcast guest uh, who has been quoted in the Wall Street Journal, Newsday, US News, and World Report, and interviewed in Forbes and on Bloomberg Radio. Holy crap, Joel. As a manager of a $700 million portfolio, the creator of his own successful hedge fund, and author of three best selling books: Infinite Love and Money, The Nine Money Rules, Money Rules Millionaires Use, and Mindful Money Management. Joel is an expert in the field of finance and the mindset of money. Just as he teaches in his books and seminars, the true foundation of wealth and financial freedom is a mindset of abundance, self worth, gratitude, love, and service. Whew, that's quite the resume, Joel.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
All right, so let's hear about this. You are that $700 million portfolio. You've been on multiple shows, media appearances, and of course the books. When did this whole thing on prosperity, on money mindset, become important to you? And like, it should be important to everyone, but a lot of people don't get there. So, what happened with you?
So great question, Shiraz. So I think the most importantly, you need to know that I'm a proud dad of two daughters, Lauren and Morgan. Uh, Lauren and Morgan were just born yesterday, but they're 19
Oh,
and 17 today.
congratulations!
And my company name, Sol Laur Moore, is named after them. Laur for Lauren, Mor for Morgan. So Solomore for Lauren and Morgan.
Okay, got it.
So why am I doing this? I did manage at the peak 700 million at Citi in between 2008 and 2012. I made money in 2008 when the financial markets were going haywire and the stock market was down 40% and financial stocks were down 57%.
Mhm.
I made more money in 2009. I might still be there today, but a law was passed that banks can't own hedge funds, which got us all laid off and actually gave me the kick in the butt to start my own hedge fund. So as you mentioned, I had my own hedge fund from 2012 to 2016. And I might still be doing that, except I went to a personal development course in December of 2015. And two things happened there that completely changed my life. One was we had a guest speaker. It was a 3-day personal development course. And we had a guest speaker speaking for 1 hour about stocks and stock options. And when he spoke about options in particular, he made it sound easy. He said, you don't need much time, you don't need much money. This is how the rich people get rich. And options are essentially risk-free. And I was sick to my stomach. I had people tapping me on the shoulder, whispering me, or Joel, does this make sense? Are options really riskless? So after he was done, we went out of the auditorium. I told him, please don't do this. He doesn't know any of you individually. And most importantly, he doesn't know your belief that you can become rich using stock options. Now, the second thing that happened at that course was we were given a wooden board 2 inches thick, and we were told we're going to break it with our bare hand. I don't know if you've done this, Shiraz. There was a lot of fear in the room, a lot of fear in the room. The exercise was called Obstacles Are Illusions. And on one side of the board, we had to write our biggest obstacle. And then on the other side, our ultimate goal, which stumped me for a while. And then it hit me. Make everyone in this room financially free. A couple of minutes later, I broke the board like everyone else did in that room. I went home that night and I couldn't sleep. First, the guy was in my head. And I realized if I could ever get up the courage to speak in front of 200 people on a stage, see, my biggest fear in life that day was public speaking. I could actually be authentic, tell people the truth about money, not lie, and be of service. And then the second thing going on my head at 4:30 in the morning was that wooden board staring back at me from across the room. Make everyone in this room financially free. It hit me at 4:30. I jumped out of bed. I quickly got dressed. I commuted into Manhattan. I was at my office at 54th and 6th Avenue before the sun rose. And I sent an email to my investors telling them I'm giving them their money back. I'm shutting down my fund. I figured out my true purpose on earth.
Okay, wait. You sent a message and shut down everything.
Yes.
Holy. Okay, what was the reaction?
Well, so the universe speaks to us in many ways. And the reaction was crickets, radio silence, no response, which gave me the indication that I was on the right path. The investor, I didn't get one response back. And so I was like, okay, that's a pretty big tell that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. There was no like, you're doing great, just keep on going or whatever. It was nothing. We had made a lot of money for our investors in 3 years. We'd outperformed the hedge fund index and there was no response. So and now my lawyer was kind of upset because that's not the way to shut down a hedge fund. But, and it did take many months legally to close the legal entities and so on and strike the final value for the fund. And it took most of 2016, but my head was already elsewhere. And, we sold most of the securities in the next 10 days and all of them in the next 90 days. Wow. But yes, so that's my story of why I'm doing what I'm doing. And yeah, my mission now is to help at least 100,000 people become financially free.
I love it. 100,000 people.
Yes.
And how is it going on that mission right now?
Well, it's going great. You mentioned I've written 3 books. This is my core book, The 9 Money Rules Millionaires Use. And, each of those books is doing well. I teach people not only through my books, but through seminars and workshops. I have a monthly membership that I started about 18 months ago. And if you had told me when I started my membership that money manifestations would be through the roof, I would have said possibly. But we're now up to $1,651,000 of money that's been manifested in less than 2 years since we started. My one-on-one coaching clients have manifested over $3.2 million. And so the money manifestations are coming in, the energy is shifting, and we're on our way towards reaching that goal of 100,000 people.
Wow. That's incredible. So you have those 9 rules. Are you willing to share any of those rules?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Rule number 1 is it's in alignment with everything you teach, Shiraz. It's when you believe. Mm-hmm. Rule number 1 is when you believe. And I tell my clients that I can teach you about stocks, I can teach you about real estate, I can teach you crypto, I can teach you to get your business to the next level. But if your mindset is not in the right place and you're doubting yourself, hashtag doubt the doubt, by the way. Don't have faith in your doubt, have faith in your dreams. So doubt your doubt, hashtag doubt your doubt, or doubt the doubt. So you have to have faith in your dreams and you have to believe in your business or believe that you're going to be making money. I had a client early on in my journey as a prosperity coach tell me that the stock market's rigged and there's no way that any individual investor could ever make money in the stock market. So I told her, we got to change that belief first, because that will be your reality until we change that belief.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people come to me with limiting beliefs around money. They believe you can't be spiritual and rich. There were a lot of things I was taught growing up as well. You know, I was taught that's too expensive. We can't afford that. Money doesn't grow on trees. I got screamed at if I left the light on in my room. Joel, we're not a shareholder of Long Island Lighting Company. Shut that light off. That didn't serve me, right? Those thoughts of lack and scarcity, worry and fear does not serve you. And so understanding your belief around money first, so you can shift that belief from a limiting belief to empowering belief, is the most important rule, or one of the most important rules of the 9 money rules. And if you don't uncover what those negative beliefs are, you're not going to be able to move to empowering beliefs and then to financial freedom. Mm-hmm. So that's why we start there. I start everyone in one-on-one coaching, also in my membership or in a course. Everything I start is with belief. Wow. So that's the first one. I don't know if you have any questions about the first one.
I'm totally aligned with the first one. I'm like right there with you.
Yeah. Rule number 2 is trust your intuition. Now, I will tell you that as a former hedge fund manager, if I didn't trust my intuition, I either lost money or made less money. And a lot of people ask me, Joel, how do you develop your intuition? And I say it's just like any other muscle. Now, I used to go to the gym and do bicep curls to develop my bicep, right? So you can practice developing your intuition every chance you get. You're making hundreds, if not thousands, of decisions every single day. So trust your intuition and take a baby step in that direction by closing your eyes and seeing what your intuition, your higher self, is telling you. I used to take my daughters to school on Thursday mornings, and we had options. We could take the highway, we could take the local road, or we could hitchhike. Just kidding. But generally, my intuition would tell me to take the highway. Now, there was one particular morning, the highway was all backed up with traffic. But my intuition was still screaming highway. But my intellect said go local. So what did I do? I went local. The traffic's all backed up on the highway. Immediately, my stomach's in knots because I hear the sirens, I see the flashing lights, and because I didn't trust my intuition, it cost me a $150 speeding ticket. And to this day, my daughters tease me and call me Speedy Pants.
All right.
Now, here's a tip for intuition related to when I was managing money. There was a stock called American International Group, or AIG, in 2008 that we had done our analysis and we realized it was overvalued. So we were betting it was going to go down. A couple of months later, we had made some money and my analyst came to me and said, look, it looks like it's going back up. Now, my intellect agreed with him, but my intuition said, don't touch that. It's going a lot lower. What did I do? I listened to my analyst, I listened to my intellect, and we got out. Now, 3 days later, the stock's down 5%, and my intuition is screaming at me, that's not it. It's going a lot lower. So we got back in. And in 3 months, we made 60% on our money and our investors' money because the stock went down 60% more in just 3 months.
Wow.
So, and I'm pretty sure no financial advisor or financial planner will tell you, hey, Shiraz, trust your intuition with your investments. But I will tell you, as a former hedge fund manager, again, if I didn't, I lost money or I made less.
So I want to ask you a question, or make a statement that that I've had when I talk about intuition. And first of all, on your achievements, you're getting some great, great congratulations, and on trusting your intuition. Okay. So I've had multiple people come up and say, "But I've trusted my intuition; it was wrong." What's your response to that?
Well, was it? Do we know if the decision was based on fear or intuition? Because a lot of times fear comes up and we don't distinguish between the fear and their intuition. And then the other thing is, if you look out from a 30,000 or 50,000 point of view,
Mhm.
are you focused in on this small little decision? Or what if your intuition was right and it created an obstacle or challenge for you to grow and for your soul to expand in much bigger and better ways? So sometimes we're focused on this, the actual event, which may not be the full scope of what's going on in the universe.
So it's almost like if you had trusted your intuition and gone on the freeway, you would have said, "Oh, I should have listened to my intellect because look how slow we're going." And you don't realize the big picture that, oh, that would have cost me.
Right. Or you got, or you start driving and you get into an accident and your intuition told you to go onto the highway, and you got in an accident on the highway.
Mhm.
And you're looking at that and like, why did I trust my intuition? But maybe, and it was a minor accident, you didn't get hurt, nobody got hurt. But what if you went a different way and you got into a worse accident?
Mhm.
Or something much worse had happened? You don't know the other implications of that other scenario. And maybe because you went this way, you avoided something much worse. Like, for example, I was on a flight home with my daughter Lauren from Belize, and it was delayed. And we were getting aggravated. And she said, Dad, like, then it got canceled. And she's like, what if, we went on that flight and it crashed?
Mhm.
Right. So you don't know all the other potential scenarios that are coming through. So that's why, you don't know for sure if trusting your intuition and something quote unquote bad happened is actually bad or it's actually good in the long run.
Got it. I like that answer. All right. Let's go with one more of those rules before we get to the actual coaching. So what's rule number
Okay.
3?
So I'll give you, there's all of them are really powerful rules. I'm having a hard time deciding which one I should give, but I'll just use that word and give. So rule number 6 in the 9 money rules is giving.
Hmm.
And I've had clients tell me, Joel, you're telling me to give my money away. If I give my money away, I have less money. How does that work? And I say money is just energy. And by putting that money out into the world, it must flow back to you. It may not flow back from that exact person or that event, but it will flow back to you. John Templeton, Sir John Templeton, some say the best investor of all time. He started the Templeton Funds in the 1950s with friends and family money, just a few thousand US dollars. And he grew that to almost 1 billion US dollars in the 1990s and sold it to the Franklin Funds, which became the Franklin Templeton Funds. He said that he hadn't met anybody who hadn't given 10% each year over a 10-year period to a charity who didn't have massively more wealth at the end of the 10 years than at the beginning.
I get that, and this can be a hard thing because if you're not making a lot of money, it feels like it's going to be painful to let go of that money. But the
Absolutely.
way
And
I
I,
was,
I will
yeah,
go ahead, Shiraz.
The way I was taught to think of it is when you're willing to give to a charity freely, not, oh, I have to give to the charity. It's like saying to the universe, I've got so much money, I can afford to give some away. And so the universe has to come and create a life that matches that thought.
Correct. Absolutely. Yeah, I say that you're saying to your subconscious mind, I got plenty to spare and share. And in fact, I've had clients who are in, really like in dire straits in like, can I actually pay my rent this month? Those kinds of things. And I tell them to give, even if it's 5 or 10 US dollars, whatever, because it's creating that mindset and creating the flow where if you're hoarding, protecting, there's no flow.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're putting it out there into the world, it will flow back to you.
All right. Well, that's rule number 6. That's to give, and even if it doesn't look like there's a lot coming in, be in that spirit of generosity. All right.
Yes, giving generously and giving freely, as you mentioned, is so powerful. Like if you feel like you're required to give, it's not the same energy,
Mhm.
right? If I go into Manhattan all the time, I tell the story all the time. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people who are homeless on different street corners. There's people on the subway that are like asking you like right in front of your face. And if you don't feel called to give from your heart, then I would recommend not,
Yep.
because it's the same energy you're putting out, you're getting. If you feel constrained and worried, but if you are giving generously, as you said, or giving freely, that's when it's really powerful.
And I've actually created a separate bank account. So when money comes in, a certain percentage goes into that so that I see it, it's there. It's not going to feel like it's coming out of the other accounts that are paying for bills and stuff. And that's wonderful because if an opportunity comes, you can give it to a specific charity you love. But for me, it's just like each month, some person inspires me or some event comes up and I'm like, you know what? That's where it's going.
Yeah, I actually created my own charity last year called Salomon Charitable Giving
Mhm.
for children to teach them financial literacy. So I
Nice.
think one of the biggest issues across the United States and across the world is the lack of basic financial education. It's not being taught in the schools. And so I have a mission there as well to educate children about finances, about money, about investing. And that's critical for success in life.
I love it. Okay. So could you hold up the book again? Because they got 3 of them. They're probably wondering what the other 6 are. Here it is. 9 Money Rules Millionaires Use. I'm assuming it's available on Amazon.
It is. And on my website too, if you want it signed and sent to you personally signed, it's on my website and a little bit less expensive.
All right. So if you want that book, actually, let's get the website here. It's in the show notes, but let's hear it on the call.
Yeah. So my website is Salaurmore, again, the name of my company, SALAURMOR.com. Salaurmore. It's not my last name. It's SALAUR for Lauren, MOR for Morgan. And by the way, talking about giving, I'd like to give something to everyone who's watching or listening or ever watching or listening to the show. If you text to the number 66866, I'm not sure if that works globally. I know it works in the US. If you text to the number 66866 prosperity, some say my middle name, but it's Master Prosperity Coach, Joel Prosperity Salomon on all the social media. So 66866 prosperity, I'm going to give you a powerful video. If you're ever concerned about money, you want to ease your money worries, that's free. If you just put in your email, you'll get that free video. And of course, you'll get added to my email list, but you'll get some from free stuff once you get added to. I include my favorite book, Cliff Notes and audio notes, a book called Ramtha the White Book, actually. So, but yeah, 66866, text prosperity, and you'll get how to ease your money worries.
All right. Cool. So you guys have I put the website and the text in the chat. You guys can access it there. So Joel, I am all set to be coached on prosperity. What do we do? Hit me with it.
So my question for you is, right now, what is your biggest money challenge?
My biggest money challenge right now. So I'm launching a new program, and it's the most expensive program I've ever created. It's $100,000. So the money challenge is finding people that are up to that type of investment to 10 times their money.
So the cost of the program is 100,000 US or Canadian?
US. Yeah.
US. Okay. And the challenge is finding people. So how many people do you think could afford a program? There's 8 billion people on the planet.
Mhm.
How many people do you think can afford easily? They have, savings, or they believe that the investment in the program will create a return on investment. So how many people out of the 8 billion do you think?
Well, when you put it out of 8 billion, there's probably at least a million of them out there. So,
Right, exactly. So it's finding that those 1 million people.
yeah.
And so let's go to the end result.
Mhm.
And you don't need a million people,
Mhm. I'm just looking for
because
10,
that'd be
right? This year, I'm just looking for 10
so okay. So 10 people.
out of a million. That sounds trivial.
Right. It's so 1% of a million is 10,000. 0.1% is 1,000. 0.01 is 100. 0.001 is 10.
Wow.
0.001. Okay.
Yeah.
It's 1,000th of 1%.
Yeah.
So, but let's go to the end result.
Mhm.
And what I teach is acting as if.
Mhm.
Acting as if what you want to happen has already happened.
Mhm.
So 10 people, actually, let's say 12 people have signed up.
Okay.
You exceeded your expectations even.
All right.
How are you feeling? What are you
Amazing.
doing? What does it look like in terms of, you know, how have you, so how are you feeling? What does life look like? Or, what have you done during the program? How many, what have those people done in their lives? Talk to me about the end results.
So, are we talking about the end result once people are in the program or once they've all the way gone through and completed the program?
On through the whole program. So I don't know how long how long is the program?
You get to seven figures in 3 years or less.
Okay. So let's say, it's May 22nd, 2026.
Okay.
So tell me how you're feeling. You've had 12 people go through the program. They've succeeded in the goals, right there, and they're all making way more than a million US.
Okay.
So how are you feeling? How are they feeling? How are you, tell me about your life, how and how what's different about your life 3 years from now.
Okay. And just before I do that, I just want to throw this out to the audience. Apply whatever your goal is to this lesson as we go through it, because you want to do the exact same visualization. So for me, they're all through the program. I am just flying high that all 12 got through it and got to the seven figures or more. I have at this point we've gone on retreats together. We've made some amazing memories uh, because between the 12 of them, that's 1.2 million for me. There's no financial concerns at this point. I'm looking forward to the next batch of people. Actually, at 3 years, I'll be taking in another 12 each year. So the new batches are going through, I've had the experience of the first batch to add to those batches, so the program's even getting better as we go along, and making making a lot of connections, and yeah, just really getting out. And because I'm a traveler, ever since I backpacked through Europe, I've got the travel bug. I prefer being out of the house than at the house. Um, so I would probably have switched to 100% travel by then.
So tell me more about how you're feeling.
So I am feeling fulfilled, happy, proud, um, free, and curious. What's next? What's coming down
Nice.
the pipeline now? Do I keep people going to a million, or do I make another program that takes them to 2.5 or 5 million? What's the next big thing?
And tell me about more about the retreats. Where have you gone with them?
So we've gone to Sedona, we've gone to Costa Rica, uh, probably done an all inclusive in like Mexico or someplace like that, where we're just like a nice luxurious all inclusive. Once they're at that level where they're like, yeah, we can do this. This is not a problem.
And tell me more about no financial concerns. So are you're financially free?
I'm financially free because if I've got the new people coming in each year and the old people are graduating, um, then I know like what I'm making now is enough that I'm not particularly worried. But at that point, it'll be like let's see what else is possible as far as where we can stay and where the adventures can take us. Um, so yeah, all
Nice.
that is just lifted. All that worry is lifted, and it's just about having fun. It's just about enjoying life.
So what I'd want you to do going forward is to do this visualization
Mm-hmm.
every day for 3 to 5 minutes. And really, Wayne Dyer said, make your future dream a present reality
Mm-hmm.
by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Make your future dream a present reality by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled in his bestseller, Wishes Fulfilled. So getting into those feelings of feeling fulfilled, happy, free, proud, really going deep into those feelings as you do your visualization, and picture yourself in Sedona, and maybe the next day picture yourself in Costa Rica or that luxurious resort in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I'd recommend is actually rule number 4 in the 9 money rules, which is visualization. And so here's quickly the 6 steps that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
So the 6 steps of visualization is 1, pick a time. 2, pick a place. 3, pick the amount of time you're going to do it. 3 to 5 minutes, no more. 4, write down what we just talked about, the dream, the desire, so that you have it before you actually start to focus on, okay, I'm going to focus on the retreat we're going to do in Costa Rica. I'm going to focus on, the retreat in Sedona. I'm going to focus on the feelings of no financial concerns. That's step 4. Step 5 is we already talked about the feelings,
Mm-hmm.
getting into those feelings. And step 6 is to picture yourself in the visualization.
Mm-hmm.
That for me has been the toughest, and it's not necessary. But if you could look down from 30,000 feet or 10,000 feet and see yourself in at the retreat,
Mm-hmm.
that would be pretty powerful. So that's a 6-step process for visualization. So do that on this new program, and I'm sure like we'll talk in 90 days and you'll have your 12 people.
Okay. Now, like one thing you said that just popped up to me, you said 3 to 5 minutes, no more. Why not more?
Well, I want you to get out into the world and take action
Okay.
on this. I don't want you spending, many minutes or days. And the other thing I'd say is a lot of people like me may have monkey mind
Mhm.
and may not be able to concentrate for a full 5 minutes
Uh-huh.
on this visualization. So I let go. I do it every day for my dreams and desires. And if I'm 2.5 minutes in, like I was this morning, and I start thinking about my day, I let go and I start going into my day. And so everything I say to my clients, everything with grace and ease.
Mhm.
You don't want to white knuckle and say, okay, I got to do it for 5 minutes. And if I don't do it for 5 minutes, it's not going to happen. That's not the kind of energy you want to put into this. So that's why I say 3 to 5 minutes. And I wouldn't like force yourself to do more. If you are going about your day and it pops up into your mind, that's great with ease, though, and grace and fun.
Okay, got it. All right, so I've got.
So, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I like it. It's simple, and because it's 3 to 5 minutes, it's small enough that I can't say, "Oh, I've got to do all this visualization." That is like,
Yeah, everything grace and ease and baby steps. Everything I teach my clients is take a baby. If you take a baby step towards your dream or desire, the universe has 100-mile-an-hour wind pushing you forward
hmm,
towards that desire. Just know that you're not doing this alone. You have the support of us. You know, you have my support, you have Shiraz's support, but then you got the universe's support behind you as well.
all right, cool. Thank you.
Sure.
All right, we are going to switch it over, and I'm going to coach Joel for a little bit while we're setting up for that, or while I explain to Joel what's going to happen. If you have any questions for him, throw it into the chat. Let's hear. I mean, you must have some financial questions for Joel. Right? So I know some people are afraid to ask, but I know they're out there. so, so Joel, for you, and I don't know if you've ever seen me work, but also for anyone that's watching that hasn't seen me work, this is how it's going to go. We're going to pick a topic that you want. Either you feel like you're stuck and you need to get it moving, or it's going well but you want to get that boost, take it another even further than where it's going. So we're going to talk about that topic. When I talk to you, I can tell when your conscious beliefs match your unconscious beliefs. So whenever they don't, I'm going to let you know. And once we realize that there's that discrepancy, we're going to look for the stories, the beliefs and stories that are running around in your unconscious mind that's causing that inconsistency. When we get to one of the stories, like, and I know this isn't a big one for you, but a very common one for people is, I want to make a lot more money, and it's like, nope, you don't actually do it. And then we find out one of the stories that I see happens a lot is, if I make lots of money, then people are going to start asking me for money. They're going to come up, they're going to ask me to invest in their business, to give to the charity. Family might say, now you got to take care of everyone, and they don't want to have those situations. And so your mind says, hey, if we don't make the money, we don't have to worry about that. Problem solved. Meanwhile, consciously, you're like, where's the money? I need the money. So when we find out that there's a story like that, I'm going to ask you, are you willing to step out of that story? If you say yes and you mean it, and again, I will be able to tell if you actually mean it or just think you mean it, then it shifts in that moment. And by that, I mean we are physically rewiring neural pathways in your brain just by you making that adamant yes statement. Now, as you're probably aware, when physical changes happen, there's often energetic changes that accompany them. So when you say that yes, the energy is going to shift. And when people shift in energy around me, I tend to yawn and cough. So expect that for the next little section of the show. And it doesn't hurt, and I'm not sick, and it's all good. I know I've worked with some people, and they're like, "Oh, I feel so bad that you're coughing. I think I'm hurting you." And I'm like, "No, I've 9 years in business. I'm still fine." So, okay, and that's it. Now, if you hear me say "ow" at any point, it's that you're saying I want this to shift, but deep down you're like, "Oh hell no, that's not shifting." Right? And I'm feeling that pushback on what we're talking about. And it doesn't really hurt me, but it gives me an idea of the intensity in which you're resisting the change you say you're asking for. Now, just for a feel I'm getting from you, I don't think there's going to be ows or big ows from you, because you seem very, very coachable. But just so you know. All right. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay, what do you want to work on?
Uh, Relationships,
Okay,
romantic relationship.
okay. So, what about the romantic relationships?
I'm looking for my next long-term relationship with a woman. I've
Okay,
been divorced twice.
okay. So that's already coming up. That's not true. Okay, so consciously you want it, unconsciously you don't want it.
Interesting.
Yeah. So did the last relationships end well?
No,
Okay. Are you worried that the new relationship may not end well?
possibly yes.
Yeah. So that's coming up true. So the best way to make sure the new relationship doesn't end well is to not get into a new relationship. Then it can't possibly end
Right.
well or end badly. It won't end well or badly, right? So what's happening is most of you is saying, I have to make sure I don't have another breakup like I did before. And your mind is more on that part than I'd like to be in a relationship. So we have to stop you from being in the story that I have to make sure I don't have a bad breakup. When you're open to the possibility of a bad breakup or a wonderful life or a good breakup and every other possibility, then everything flows. So are you willing to step out of the story that you have to make sure you never have another bad breakup?
Absolutely.
Ooh, okay. Are relationships a lot of work?
They can be.
Okay.
Let's believe that there don't have to be a lot of work. They're easy.
Okay, so that's not coming up
They
true.
can be easy. They can be easy.
Yep. See, what you're saying is accurate. What you're feeling is different. So are you willing to step out of the story that relationships are always a lot of work?
Absolutely.
Okay. And are you allowed to be you in a relationship?
Yes.
Okay. That wasn't so bad. There was some pushback, but not as bad as the other two. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But let's just get out that little bit just to make sure it's all clear. So are you willing to step out of the story that you're not allowed to be you when you're in a relationship?
Yes. Yes, I am.
And this is actually quite common. There's so many people I've worked with that are in relationships, and both partners are striving to be what they think the other person wants in a relationship. And so neither of them are fully in the relationship, and then they're wondering why they're having problems. So,
It's good to be you. It's
yep,
good. It's good to like be your authentic self. If you're not your authentic self, then it's going to be tougher to be in a good, loving, caring relationship.
exactly. Okay. All right. Let's do a check in. How does that feel? Better, worse, the same, or different?
Much better. Feel better.
All right. Cool.
Feeling good. Feeling raise my vibration.
All right. Yeah, that's what we're going for.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's feeling a lot better for you. So I have to check in 90 days for you and see if you're in a relationship.
I'll almost guarantee it.
Okay. All right. So, whew, yeah, there's still a lot moving there. Whew. It's like we opened something and you're just releasing all this stuff.
Ready indeed.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So, um, oh, I have to say, oh, sorry, I gotta go through this. Uh, Before we finish up with Joel, we have to do a breakthrough show commercial here for what's coming up this week. So tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern is Beyond 2D. Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern is Divine DNA. And Monday through Friday this whole week at 8 a.m. is Bunch of Joy as usual. So uh, this isn't the only show here. If you're just new to the Breakthrough Show, there's a whole network that's going on. Catch those shows, they are amazing. So, before we close out, Joel, any words of wisdom, advice, final nuggets you want to give to our audience?
I'll just repeat what I said earlier. Hashtag doubt the doubt. I think that's the biggest concerns, the biggest issues my clients have, and I think I've seen it around the globe. Is doubting yourself, not believing in yourself. We were taught growing up, criticize, and then we transfer that and keep that throughout our life. And I know in my businesses, I had to overcome a lot of doubts of my own, and then criticism from outside. So it's something to work on every day. Hashtag doubt the doubt. Have faith in the dream.
All right. Hashtag doubt the doubt. Well, Joel, this has been fun. And thank you so much for being on the show. I think a bunch of people are going to be grabbing that book after the nuggets you gave out of it. And remember that you can get more from Joel at Salah. I have the pronunciation is Salah Arman.
Sal Lore Moore.
Salomore. Okay. I'm just looking at all these vowels. Salomore.com or text prosperity to 66866.
Yes.
All right. So lots of ways. And of course, the information is going to be in the show notes. If you're watching the replay, which a lot of people do, it's right there. Just go to the description and read. Okay. All right. Thanks again, Joel. We are going to head out and we'll be back next month with another amazing guest. This has been Rewriting Reality.